Okay. Maybe we are live. Maybe we are not. What's going on? Where are we at here? Okay, why are we blank on the source? Why is that happening? Okay, guys, can you see me? I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second here. I'm hoping that this is working. I'm not seeing any of my sources right now. What is happening? You guys, okay, so you guys can see me? No way. Okay, so I'm rolling blind. What's going on here? This is crazy. Okay. Little bit of technical difficulties to get the live show started, just so we get the comments engaging. Tell me, yes, we can see you. I can't see myself. But you guys can see me. Okay, great. Now that we have 589 comments telling me that we are good to go, I will believe you. Let me go back. Okay. There we are. I don't know why it was doing that to me. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go back here. Okay. All right, a little glitch in the matrix to get the show started. Hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in here tonight. Now I can see myself. That's good. Okay. Guys, hey, absolute pleasure to be here with you tonight. TikTok, if everybody could do me a favor and share the stream out. TikTok, if you guys could tap the screen and share the stream. Same thing, or the equivalent on YouTube and X. If you guys could like it, share it. Appreciate you. ZachRector.com. That's our word from the sponsor. Hey guys, I got my adult beverage poured. We're going to go through a market update. It's been a busy weekend for me. We're getting dialed back in here. So I appreciate you for your patience. Really looking forward to just this update tonight, getting back into the swing of things. Massive week here taking place with Liberation Day coming up tomorrow. We're already starting to see some nations fold, some countries already coming to the table and saying, hey, President Trump, please don't do us like this. We know that we were taking advantage of you and your incompetent leaders or corrupt leaders. I'll let you guys determine that. But we're seeing it all start to shift back to common sense, back to America first, back to free markets, allowing capitalists to bring the capital in, invest in entrepreneurs. Some fail, some succeed. And what you're starting to see here is the liquidity's ready. Circle filing to go IPO here today. And then we saw Newsmax actually went IPO a couple days ago, and their stock is already blasting off. So the liquidity's there, as I've been talking about. Many people thinking that this was the end of the world, this big tariff trade war, and they couldn't be more wrong. And we're going to break that down in tonight's episode. So I just have a quick show here as far as a market update and some of the things that I want to cover. But I do want to open it up for a broader Q&A here tonight, because I know that we haven't been as active over the past few days. So I want to answer anybody's questions, concerns. I know that the market came back down. And in my last couple updates, I've explained how this buy wall at $2 is just so strong. It's just so strong at $2. And so that's why we've held up so well. And we were anticipating this move to the downside. If you guys had seen my updates, we talked about this in the Discord group, some of our most recent YouTube videos. We were expecting this downside action up until Liberation Day this week. And really the market already starting to bounce back up. Now, I do want to say this. It would be right on cue, just like the market makers operate, for them to give us an April Fool's pump, right? April Fool's pump before they kill us tomorrow, metaphorically speaking, in the markets, of course, with some sort of crash dump. We definitely could see something like that take place. But, to me, the bottom is in on XRP. XRP strength is on display. That's why I dropped an update earlier today titled XRP Remaining Strong. And I basically broke down just from a fundamental perspective how XRP's decoupled from the rest of the market and from the rest of crypto. Yes, XRP's come back down with the broader market coming back down, but it's not as dramatic. When you look at these other cryptocurrencies, they're down 60, 70, 80% from the levels that they just popped up to. And I can list off a few if you want, but I mean, from Ethereum to other altcoins that are down, Ethereum's down 60%, and these other altcoins are down 70, 80% from the most recent high that they popped up to. And that's why I took profit on some of these coins like XCN and other coins where they'd already gone up, they've already ran up massively. So we took some profits, got onto the sidelines, and sure enough, we were able to get off, for the most part before they went down 70 to 80%. Now, this is why I say XRP's decoupled from the rest of the space, though. It came down about 50%, from $3.40 down to $1.70. That's a 50% crash. That's the type of risk exposure that you have with a digital asset like XRP. While fundamentally we still remain so bullish, from a technical perspective, we're still on our way to all-time high. And what's hilarious about this situation is that even if we had come down to $1.50, you ask the TA experts and gurus and the people that are way better than me at the TA, and I don't know why it does that. Now, when I hold a thumbs up, now it gives a thumbs up. When did we ever get that emoji on screen? I've never even, I've seen that in one other live show. But basically, if you ask the TA guys and you look at their charts, what's funny is even if we did come down to $1.50, the bullish structure was still intact. And that's why I knew that if we did come down to $1.50, that, we were still going to be fine. But we didn't. We came back down to 202. Some exchanges might have gone down to 201. But I warned about how we hit the triple tap in December, triple tap here once again. February, we did it twice. And then in March, we came back down again. And I said, watch for the fourth and final fake out where it comes back down, but it doesn't break $2. And sure enough, 205, that was on like Saturday. And then we came down to like 201 yesterday, right? So hopefully you're able to get your buy orders through. I know some people said that they weren't able to. I'm checking the chat right now. It looks like Mikkel's in the house. Shout out to Mikkel. We love Mikkel. Good guy. Good content. We love him. And so this is kind of the bounce that we were anticipating. Like I said, I don't feel like we're out of the clear necessarily all the way yet, because we still could get something tomorrow. Throughout the rest of this week, we could still see a little bit of downside action, but it looks very clear to me that the bottom's in. You're already seeing nations start to fold, come to the table. And so this end of the world, tariff war, trade war being the end of the world, people blew this way out of proportion. And so we're already seeing the market recover. I want to get into this update though, so I can get to your guys' Q&A. I really do appreciate you guys for stopping by here tonight. So if you haven't already, like this video, share it out far and wide. I'm going to get through my market update, and then I want to get to Q&A with you guys. Let's take a sip of our adult beverage, and then let's continue on here, okay? Brad Garnhouse, yeah, he's probably here too. Brad, he likes to watch the show. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's get it going, guys. We got a lot to cover, and I want to do it quickly so we can get to Q&A. Job postings on Indeed dropped 10% year over year last week to the lowest in 4 years. Over the last 3 years, job postings have declined by 33%. As a result, available vacancies are just about 8% above pre-pandemic levels. Additionally, new job postings have dropped by 40% since February of 2022 to near the lowest since December of 2020. Data provided by Indeed has been leading indicator for the BLS provided job openings data, suggesting more weakness ahead. The labor market is deteriorating. This strong economy that they were touting, and they loaded us up on GDP with all this government spending in the last stretch there. And this is typical of many administrations when they're desperate to try to remain in power. What they'll do is they'll load up in the final quarter or even the last month while they're in power. And so you saw GDP remain positive through the end of this year. But going back to 2022, it's funny. that the jobs numbers that I just cited there actually go back to 2022 when I was sounding the alarm, pounding the table about the real economy. One thing that I underestimated was the disconnect between Main Street and Wall Street. I was 100% correct about Main Street being in recession, tightening, and constricting. I underestimated how well the market was going to hold out, and it's lasted up until now, right? But then we've started to see this downside action on high-flying tech stocks like Nvidia and others. That correction has now started. This is a correction that I thought was going to start sooner, and it didn't. I was wrong on that, okay? But we were dead on about Main Street. And the reason why Trump won in such a landslide is because Main Street was not buying this strong economy, right? Main Street was not buying the lies that had been ongoing for the past 4 years. Now the jobs numbers are starting to come through. And like I said in my update earlier today, we're not going to know that we were in a recession or that we're in one right now until we've seen 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. So the whole game here is to see this before it happens and position yourself accordingly. So what Wall Street's been doing is they've been selling out of tech stocks. They've been selling out of the S&P 500, and they've been going to bonds. That's why the bond yields come back down here today, and we've seen recently the trajectory back down. While it was pushing up towards 5% when Trump first took office, now it's come back down because of the recession, and that's recession fears. And so the market's already come back down to the downside. Stock market's rolled over. Bitcoin corrected down to 76,000, right? This is based off the trade war, and this is based off of recession fears. But what folks were missing, and I think where folks are missing it right now, is they thought that this was going to continue to bleed out to the downside when this Liberation Day tomorrow, I think, is actually going to be very bullish for the right stocks, for the right companies, for the right sectors, and for utility cryptos that are based in America. Like I said, the fundamentals couldn't get better for utility cryptos that are based in America. There's no reason why XRP should be caught up in the trade war downside action that's happening right now. But it's still caught up with the broader market manipulation, and the market makers are feeding into your fear. There's a reason why most of the content creators recently over the past month were pumping fear into everybody, right? Because that's what was selling lately. And when I was still staying bullish and saying, guys, no, we're not going back down below $1. We might go back down to $1.50, but the bullish structure still remains intact. We don't need to anticipate the end of the world here. But you saw so many content creators. What have they been doing over the past month? I've heard some of them selling off large positions of their portfolio, getting out. And I think that they're going to miss big time by doing so. It's going to be a fatal mistake for their portfolios because the bottom was already in. Yes, you might have been able to catch a little downside action and reaccumulate your bag, but I hope that you caught it. I hope that you got back in because we're already starting to see it bounce. And I think that we're about to rip to the upside after folks can breathe a little sigh of relief. Wow, the tariffs weren't the end of the world. And they're not going to be, okay? Now, let's continue on here because I do have a few more things to cover. If anything's sending a signal, it's been gold. Take a look at it right here, folks. Gold up to $3,161 right now. This thing blasted off to an all-time high. It's been sending a warning for a while now. Okay, there's a reason why this thing blew through 2,000, blew through 2,100, ran up to 2,500, 26, 27. Hey, let's keep it moving past $3,160 per ounce. Gold has been sending a signal. And it's sending a signal not only that the economy wasn't as strong as we were being led to believe, but also that gold is going to be a part of the new financial system. It is going to be a part of the reset. And so that's why gold all the way up here to nearly $3,200 per ounce. Continuing on, check it out. The White House says President Trump has made up his mind on tariffs, which will be likely announced April 2nd at 1 p.m. Eastern. So I'm going to have full coverage of this tomorrow. You can expect a couple videos will probably drop for me tomorrow as we update you guys live on this situation. But we're already hearing reports from Trump's been saying himself that he's going to be a lot more friendly. He's going to take it a lot more easier than these countries have been taking it on us. So the goal was reciprocal, but it looks like Trump's already leaning to play nice, and many other countries are already dropping their tariffs, like Israel eliminating all of their tariffs on U.S. goods to avoid Trump's reciprocal tariffs. So we want to play nice. Israel wants to play nice. We want to play nice. Other countries are already coming to the table and dropping their tariffs. India's been a good example of that too, I believe. And so we're going to see this all play out over the next week or so. And I'm just expecting a lot of and once again, this is Trump, art of the deal. He holds the cards. We hold the cards in America. We're the biggest consumer in the world. So when it came to Mexico and Canada, and a lot of folks basically read headlines. A lot of people are headline readers, right? And so they were reading headlines from mainstream media that were saying that, basically Canada and Mexico should declare war against us. I mean, that's essentially what the mainstream was telling people. In fact, this weekend up where I live, there's actually going to be a come together, kumbaya deal. And that's great. I've been saying the same thing. I mean, I love Canada and our brothers and sisters up there. I go up to Canada all the time. And I've been saying how, there's no reason why we shouldn't be flourishing. The United States, Canada, and Mexico included. And folks were reading headlines about these tariffs and not realizing that the USMCA deal that Trump passed and is going to continue on, there's actually some exemptions for the tariffs on Canada and Mexico. But people wanted to buy into the fear. So the mainstream media was telling you that the tariffs we were going to be at war. That's what the mainstream media was telling us. Mainstream media was telling you that you need to live in fear. And you guys know they've been doing this for a while, right? And you see other YouTubers, other influencers that were buying into that, right? What sells clicks? Massive fear, massive hype. What do? We shoot it straight down the middle at you. And we're telling you, hey, no, XRP might hold out here well, despite some people saying that XRP is going back below $1. It's just not going to happen. There's too much buy pressure on this asset. There's too many people that want XRP. Okay? And this is retail all the way up to institutional. But then on the flip side too, I'm not willing to say XRP is going to $10,000 this year, okay? But we're also not going to buy into the fear. So we just try to shoot it straight at you guys. And that's where I've been at with this whole tariff situation is, what have they been trying to feed us? This is the end of the world. Canada's going to declare war against us. Mexico, same thing, right? Japan, China, South Korea going to gang up against us. That's not how this is going to work. And so now you're starting to see it's going to come out and the market's going to reverse and a lot of people are going to be caught left behind. Okay? All right, I'm looking at your guys' chat right now and I do appreciate you for stopping by. I think that I missed the super chat actually. Did I miss a super chat? Let me check here real quick. Yeah, James, thank you. I'm looking to make one more good purchase, wanting to buy at $2 or less. Will I soon see that opportunity before odds? Yeah, James, I think that it's tough because the buy wall at $2 is too strong. And that's why you just can't get too greedy looking for it to go down. Definitely don't place the order at $2. But then I'm already hearing reports back of folks that placed their order at $2.01, $2.02, and their orders didn't go through. So even if we do go down to these levels, there's only so many buy orders that get filled because there's only so many people willing to sell. And that's the thing is there's just not many people selling at these levels. The only people that are selling at these levels are people that are being forced to sell from a spot buying perspective. Obviously, the leverage traders have been cleared out. And in fact, this is something that I was listening in a space last night to some traders talk about. And they said that basically the leverage traders and the people that have been trying to short XRP, they've been wiped out. There's no more left. They've lost all of their liquidity. Right? These guys have gotten wrecked. You can only get wrecked so many times before you say, okay, I give up. I'm not going to try to short XRP anymore. And that's basically where they're at. That's why they can't push it down much lower. Not only are they out of liquidity, but the new liquidity that is coming in, the liquidity that's rotating out of Bitcoin, Ethereum, memes, other stupidity, it's moving into XRP. New people coming into crypto, they don't want Bitcoin. They want memes and they want XRP. And so that's why $2 has held up so well. But you've watched, these guys have tried to short. These are the same guys that said XRP was going back below $1 and they got wrecked. And they said XRP was going down to $1.50 and they got wrecked. And just this past weekend, they thought XRP was going back below $2 and they got wrecked. Their program is not working out. And I can say that emphatically because we're watching it on the charts play out. We've seen them put out the tweets. Don't be greedy. Sell now at $1.94 because we're going back to 80 cents. What did XRP do? $3.40. How's that program working out, trying to short XRP? Hope you got some liquidity left because we've wiped you out and we're going to continue to wipe you out. Just like folks that were shorting thinking that it was the end of the world. No. And so James, to answer your question directly, get in and just don't wait. I mean, the other thing too, James, where are we going? What's the difference going to make? Buying at 220? What's XRP at right now? It's at 209. I was going to say, yeah, maybe look for XRP to come back below $2 one more time. But, this asset's already built a buy wall here at $2. So I would move now, personally. I wouldn't wait around. I mean, if you can leave a little bit on the sidelines to buy, but guys, I can't tell you when to buy or what to buy. I'm not going to give you financial advice. But one thing that I've pointed out is this buy wall at $2 is just for real. So for all these folks that thought that they were going to be able to buy back in at $1.50, wrecked. People that were shorting XRP, wrecked. It's just, we're watching the order book inflows. It's not my opinion. It's order book inflow data. It's data. And it's being reflected on the chart. And so to answer your question, James, I would just say, one thing that I always do is I move in with two or three buy orders. If I got FOMO, buy now. Buy with half my bag, save half my bag to buy later, right? But you're playing a dangerous game right now with XRP because of how much momentum is still behind it. While the rest of the space has lost most of its momentum. And I'm talking about memes are struggling, Solana's in shambles, Ethereum, I don't even run through it. You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, now one more super chat did come in, so I want to answer that from Dennis. Anyone holding 10,000 or more XRP will be rich. You are already rich if you have 10,000 XRP, because with XRP, where it's going to go over $100 in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm being conservative. $100 over the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, you do the math. You got a bag. You got a bag that's going to be able to do something for you and your family. Absolutely. Let's continue on here, folks. This is why I remain so bullish. Check it out. This is from President Trump. In 2 months, there have been more private investments spoken for and or committed to than in the 4 years of Sleepy Joe Biden administration, a fact that the fake news hates to talk about. He's now saying that there's over 3 trillion. It might even be over 4 trillion. It's like 3 to 4 trillion of investment capital already committed. Is it all going to show up? Maybe not. Maybe some of these guys are just trying to commit to President Trump to be in his good graces. And that's part of the leverage that Trump has on so many of these guys. And Howard Lutnick spoke about this in his All In podcast. There's 3 podcasts and shows that I recommend everybody watch right now. Scott Bessent on the All In podcast. Howard Lutnick on the All In podcast. Not only does he talk about his plans to raise $1 million, he talks about being a gratis vendor, which relates back to Ripple and their partnership with the Treasury, where you give up your services to the United States government. You don't need congressional approval. You don't need to go through any of that oversight. When you offer up your services to the United States government, the president, through Article 2 of the Constitution, has the ability to accept your services. And that's exactly what Ripple could be doing with the Treasury Department, right? So Howard Lutnick with the All In podcast, and he's the Secretary of Commerce. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, All In podcast, must listen. And then Elon with the Doge team, how they're going to cut $1 trillion. By the way, in the video that I dropped this weekend where I spoke on this, I misspoke. I said that Elon was going to cut $1 trillion, and I meant to say that Howard Lutnick was going to raise $1 trillion, but I said that he was going to raise $1 million. I misspoke. Elon cuts $1 trillion. Howard Lutnick raises $1 trillion, and they've already done it through the gold cards. paying, $5 million to get a U.S. residence. So basically, they've already sold 1,000, but if they sell 1 million of these suckers, that's $5 trillion. So not only is Howard Lutnick going to raise $1 trillion, I think he's actually going to raise more. Okay, and with Elon, cutting $1 trillion will be no problem. Cutting $1 trillion will be no problem. They probably cut more. So Elon Musk cuts $1 trillion, and you listen to him on Brett Baier, Fox News. It's Elon and the Doge team. And very impressive interview that was conducted there by Brett Baier. And then Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick on the All In podcast. When you listen to these, boy, did I get bullish. I mean, I'm so excited to be an American right now. And you guys know I love my country, but I've been frustrated with the direction we're heading. The way that these guys are taking us is incredible. They're cutting and eliminating as much tax as possible. They're cutting and eliminating as much regulation as possible. They're allowing investment capital to flow in like never before. They are using common sense. And Howard Lutnick himself said, nothing that he's doing is rocket science. Nothing that he's doing is anything other than just being smart. Just having a little bit of common sense and business acumen. And just with that, they're going to be able to raise $1 trillion. While Elon cuts $1 trillion. And while Scott Bessent, these guys have been methodical in the plan that they had coming in here to office and how it's being rolled out. They're not worried about that stock market coming back down a little bit because they're here to restore the US dollar. They're here to maintain the reserve currency status of the US dollar. A little sacrifice from the stock market is something that they're willing to do. And that's why we've positioned ourselves accordingly. We're not in stocks other than mostly pre-IPO, Ripple, other companies. Boy, if those stocks taken off, and I'm going to show you how much more they got to run. This is exactly what we're talking about right here. Take a look at it. This is Newsmax, up 2,000% since the company went public yesterday. IPO at $10. They ran up all the way to $210 for this one right here. How about that for Newsmax? Okay. Next point, Circle, USDC stablecoin issuer files for IPO. Now, I don't know what the current valuation of Circle is right now. And can you guys let me know in the chat? I believe, no, actually, I know Link2 was offering Circle. Okay. And we just got an update. I should actually comment on this. I know many people have questions about this. And thank God we got John Deaton fighting on behalf of everybody because John Deaton just provided an update on Link2. I wasn't able to listen to the whole thing yet, but I got the summary and the cliff notes. And it sounds like John Deaton has spoken with the new guys at Link2, and they got everything sorted out, and the shares are where they're supposed to be. They created entities. These are liquid shares that they created, basically shares within the company that are in separate entities from Link2 for this exact reason. If Link2 ever had any issues, your shares would be in a different entity and they would be secure. And now you've seen Ripple's valuation has more than doubled since the election. So the folks that invested in Ripple going to be, doing very well off that investment. And then the folks that invested in Circle, you're going to be doing really well with that investment as well too. Whether that was on Link2 or you could get access to Circle on other platforms as well. But great update from John Deaton. I appreciate him for speaking with Link2 and pushing the issue a little bit, so that we could get some more answers. We definitely need more answers, more transparency. But the thing is, when you get caught up in these lawsuits, it's tough for these companies to speak. It's tough for people that work for these companies to speak on the issues. So I'm glad that we did get an update from Link2, not Link2 directly, but through John Deaton. And at least we got that. And the good news is it sounds like everybody's Link2 shares are secure, whether that be Ripple, whether that be Circle, whether that be others. So Circle hopping on the wave, and Ripple's going to be following suit. I've predicted that they're going to have the largest IPO in the history of the world. I still believe so. Now, what's interesting is that the largest IPO in the history of the world was Saudi Aramco at $25.6 billion. Ripple already went to a $20 billion valuation right after the election. President Trump elected, Ripple valuation doubled overnight. It was at about $10 billion. It went up to $20 billion overnight. And that's incredibly, grossly undervalued. The net asset value of the company Ripple is over $100 billion. So how can you explain that the company is trading at an 80% discount to net asset value? Nobody in the stock market or TradeFi can explain that. Even if you want to discount the XRP that Ripple holds because it's in the escrow, I'm fine with that. Let's discount that escrow by 50%. You're still at a 50 billion plus valuation, which is double the largest IPO that's ever been done. So this is the new wave that you're starting to see of IPOs is about to start back up. And Paul Atkins, I have this on my notepad right here to mention, Paul Atkins is going to be confirmed in the committee, Senate Banking Committee, on Thursday. They're going to be voting on it. It's going to be confirmed. And so we're one more step in the right direction towards getting Paul Atkins in. And not only does he know the XRP case very well, he's one of his priorities is actually capital formation. Capital formation is something that he's very big on. So, yeah. Zach, I want to know what the barber says about XRP. So, my barber actually is big into XRP. And I didn't know that when I started going to him. So, he's a great guy. I have a lot of fun going to him. I'm usually there for about an hour, and we have a great conversation every single time. It's a lot of fun. Very, very, shout out to my barber. He's a great guy, big into XRP, but he gets crypto too. Like it's like we hit it off right away because he gets it. He gets it 100%. He's down to mess around and gamble a little bit sometimes in memes or whatever, but he understands that it's all real utility. And he's been invested in XRP. That's been his biggest bag, I think he said, forever. So he gets it 100%. He says he watches my content. And we have some good conversations. He's very bullish on XRP. And we talk too. He's very level-headed. He kind of understands and is in the same camp as I am that we need to run up to about $10 and get all the sellers out. All the people that want to sell before $10, we need to get them out. And that needs to happen before we go up to higher prices. But no, he's spot on. Great haircuts, great onto crypto. And it's cool. I would encourage everybody to find, and you're starting to find more. I had somebody actually today at Costco come up to me and shake my hand and say, hey, nice to meet you. Love your content and all that. And it's great to be able to engage with people in real life. And I like to support, the XRP family always, right? So, I'm very glad that I was able to find a XRP barber, and it's actually I'm due to go back in and get a trim here shortly too. I get my hair cut every few weeks. Okay. What else do we got in the chat here? Tom, does anybody remember Laughter? Tom, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Benny Jones, thank you for the 8 spot. Hey, Zach, is there a time limit on the SEC to approve or deny the ETFs? Yes, there is. It's October, and they'll be approved before that. Yeah. Brad Grindhouse predicted the second half of this year. And so we're looking, July, August, September. And October is the final deadline. But we have a new SEC that's coming in. So I think that we'll be in. And Grayscale today just filed their S1 to convert the Grayscale large cap fund into an ETF. And for those of you guys that have been with me for a while, I predicted that was going to be, it's like shooting fish in a barrel, because it's just like, they've already had a product that's basically an ETF for accredited investors, and they're going to roll it over to an ETF and make it available for everybody. It's like 2 + 2 still equals 4, even in new maths. Even in the Common Core new maths, 2 + 2 still equals 4. They do it backwards to get to the right answer, but hey, they still get to the right answer. And that's basically what we've been analyzing here, looking at companies like Grayscale that had an XRP trust. Actually, they had a fund that was dedicated to XRP before the lawsuit. After the lawsuit, they dropped it, but they still they had the large cap fund, which they added XRP back to after the lawsuit. And I believe that they've actually created their XRP trust. They filed it, or or actually, sorry, I think that Grayscale already filed for their XRP ETF. It's tough to keep track now because you got basket ETFs like this large cap fund, you got index funds like the what was it, Van Eck, a subsidiary of Van Eck made the Mega 10 crypto index, which was like the top 10 cryptos based in America. XRP made up 50% of the index fund. And then you got dozens of others ETFs that have been filed as well too. So yeah, no, the final deadline's October, but we're dealing with Paul Atkins. We're dealing with a new administration. It's game on. It's game on. If you want an example, just look at Newsmax. And for those of you guys that have bought pre-IPO, Circle, Ripple, you guys are going to do so well. You guys are going to do so well. It looks like everything's going to be okay at Link2, which I was very concerned about, but it looks like that's going to be good. You guys are going to make so much money. I don't own any Ripple equity. I passed up and I'm kicking myself. I had a smoking deal. From our good friends over there at Jake Claver. Jake brought me Ripple equity at $20 a share, and I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. Because at a $20 billion valuation, Ripple IPO is already at $120 per share. So not only could I already made big returns on that one, it's going to go a lot further. It's still grossly undervalued. So anyway, shout out to everybody that was able to get on that one. Velo, it's on my deep dive list. Now that I'm transitioning here, we'll get you back in. I'm getting locked back in. And so more deep dives on the way. I know Velo, a lot of people have been asking me for Velo. You're probably going to be disappointed when I cover it because I don't feel like there's going to be that much confirmation, partnerships, adoption. But I know that a lot of people are bullish on Velo, so I'll go in. I'm non-biased because I don't own any Velo. I own XLM. It's my number 2. I own Stronghold. I own Aqua. And there's, I think, one other token on Stellar that I own. I think that all of the Stellar QFS coins are all scams, by the way. Somebody just asked me about that. I think that they're all scams. Oh, this token represents all of the gold in India. Get out of here with that crap. I think it's all scams, personally. I'm just being honest with you. And I'd be happy to be wrong because I know some of you guys own a bunch of those tokens. But I think that all of those are scams, personally. Oh, this token is the seized assets of Apple and Tesla, and thank you, but I'm good. I will stack Stellar, and that's how I play Stellar. I got a little bit of Aqua. I got Stronghold. I've studied Stronghold, and I've been impressed with what they got going on. I still want to see more, just like many projects. I still want to see more. It was funny. I dropped my Flare deep dive. And even though I said Flare is probably still going to pump 500%, I still got a lot of backlash, on that one. But we're going to follow up on Flare. We're going to follow up. Like with all these projects, I just say, hey, here's what they got cooking. I love what I'm seeing over here, but here's where I need to see more. Whether they be full-blown red flags that make me want to stay away, or in most cases, it's just, hey, we need to see a little bit more over here. You guys have been promising this for a couple years, we still don't have it. It's that type of things that mostly is what I'm pointing out with these cryptocurrencies and what I want to see going forward. A couple other super chats, I don't want to miss those, so let me cover that and then we'll continue on. We still got a lot of time for Q&A here tonight, guys, so I'm going to scroll back up. Tom, thank you. James Dula, Crawford 1, Wisconsin. Thoughts on how that will affect the Donald Trump agenda. Is that the Democrat? I'm sorry, I don't know the names there. I know we had a big election in the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Is that the Democrat leaning? Which these are judges. They're not even supposed to lean one way or another. They're supposed to uphold the Constitution. So, that's the funny thing about the judges there. But fill me in. Is Crawford the Democrat leaning judge? Yes, Crawford is the Okay. I saw that there was already issues. Some counties were reporting that they ran out of ballots. So I don't know. We'll see if it's already been declared. Maybe that's the case, but I'll follow up on that, okay? There's open lawfare taking place. The Republicans actually voted to, or basically I saw something about how they're not going to vote on a bunch of issues, including the lawfare that's being fought out in the courts right now. And so you guys know how I've been calling this out. America first is where I stand. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on a level playing field. I'm as displeased with Democrats that have sold us out as I am with Republicans that have sold us out. In fact, in some cases, I'm almost more disappointed with Republicans that lie and that get soft, because they say one thing and act tough and then they get soft. And that's just, I just can't stand for that. And so, I'm displeased with anybody that goes against America first, that goes against life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on a level playing field, that goes against opening up our capital markets. I don't stand for that. Anybody that wants to raise taxes, who wants to introduce more regulation, I don't stand for that. So that's where I stand. But yeah, I'll follow up on that Wisconsin Supreme Court issue. I will make sure to do that. Lava you. Katie, thank you for the 10 spot. I don't know what lava means. Is that a token? Is that a ticker? Is that a meme coin? I don't know what lava is. Is that a different language? You never know these days. Are we talking meme coins? Or are we talking another language? Okay, where are we at? James, okay, you got that. Thank you. Buxom Blonde, thank you for the 2 spot. ETF will cause a shortage of XRP, 100%. I covered in my update earlier today. We had 50 million RLUSD minted at the RLUSD Treasury. That was on Ethereum. So the pace at which RLUSD is growing is 10 times faster than Tether. Okay? So we're going to surpass Tether. I actually think that the only threats to Ripple's stablecoin not being the number one is from other issuers. And I'm talking about other big institutional issuers like JP Morgan, Bank of America. Like, this is the crazy thing, is that Bank of America could tokenize their deposits with BOA USD. I'm just making a stupid example, but they have $1 trillion of deposits already, right? So you get an institution like that, they can tokenize $1 trillion like that. And now they could do that on the XRP ledger, right? Ripple's already laid out the blueprint for a Bank of America to have all of their deposits issued as a token on the XRP ledger. That blueprint's already been laid. Whether or not they do that, who knows? The problem with Bank of America creating their own blockchain and their own stablecoin on their own network is they won't have interoperability with anybody else. This is why most institutions and banks have issued their stablecoins or tokenized deposits on Ethereum, and you're starting to see more and more on XRP, and that's only going to pick up from here. There's going to be a lot more on XRP, okay? Lava you for all your help, Zach. I'm going to be a millionaire. Is that like supposed to be like love? Like love you? Lava. I've never heard that. Hi Zach, new to your channel. You have been only my reliable source for XRP. What do you think about temporary pump or dump? Like I said, the $2 buy wall is there. I think that the downside's almost over. We're about to be in the clear. You're seeing the downside this weekend. That was probably it. We might get one more downside tomorrow. So if you want to set some orders down at $2, that's might be a good move. But it looks like to me like most of it's blown by. Like the storm has passed, all this fear. So I'm in the camp of pump. I'm in the camp of we're going to all-time high very soon. And that would be a $3.80 to $4 XRP very soon. Okay? Just to be clear on what I consider an all-time high for XRP, it's $3.85. Okay? Now, let me get back in here because I saw some other super chats came in. Tony Huggins, 10 spot. And somebody just asked too if I'm going to XRP Las Vegas. Yes, absolutely. In fact, I just spoke with Brad Kimes yesterday, and it sounds like Brad wants me to moderate a panel. So I will be on stage. Sounds like I'll be moderating a panel. It's an absolute pleasure to help Brad out, and I'm looking forward to doing that again. I did that back in 2023 at the first XRP Las Vegas. And I'll be looking forward to doing that again. Any way that I can help Brad, it'll be an absolute honor and a privilege. And can't wait to be back up on stage there at XRP Las Vegas. And really, most importantly, back with you guys. That's what I'm so excited about for in Vegas, is just being with you guys, shaking hands, giving hugs, having an adult beverage in person, talking about strategies, investments, and other opportunities. I like to be able to take the time to meet with, my partners in this crypto game, whether that be Caleb and Brown, whether that be Uphold. I like to take the opportunity to meet with them. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yes, I will be in XRP Las Vegas. It's going to be a good time. Going to be a very good time. Okay? What else we got? Tony, thank you for the 10 spot, Tony. No escrow activity, locked or released yet for April. What do you think of this? And what do you think about gifting as a gratuitous vendor to the U.S. Treasury? I mean, you've seen my videos, haven't you, Tony? I mean, to me, it's the answer. Because you have all this debate and you have a lot of attacks against David Sachs, the crypto czar, right? He had to divest of $200 million. Paul Atkins holds $6 million of crypto, and I think that his total net worth is in over $600 million. Paul Atkins has a bag. Paul Atkins has big money. He's going to divest of a lot of that too, and he had over $6 million worth of crypto apparently. And it's just you avoid all that controversy, all this attack of picking winners and losers. Can XRP be added to the reserve? Does it need to be added to the stockpile? Should it be? Who's going to pay for it? All of that conversation and debate ends when Ripple just says, hey, we have a team of developers that we'd love to offer up. Just like Elon had a team of developers that he brought for Doge, Ripple's going to have a team of developers to help with Treasury. Not only do we have the former 43rd Treasurer of the United States of America that could maybe help us out, we have a team of developers. We have software here, and this is in the form of Ripple Payments, Ripple Custody. We also have a digital asset, XRP, that we have at a cost basis of 0. So it would cost us absolutely nothing to give it to you. Nobody else in the crypto space is in a position to do something like this, and I've talked about this before. Nobody else can do this. Is Michael Saylor going to give some Bitcoin to the government? No. Is anybody else going to give Bitcoin to the government? Is Satoshi Nakamoto going to give his million Bitcoin to the government? Well, that'd be the government giving Bitcoin to themselves, right? Because we know Satoshi, it's the government giving themselves Bitcoin. Right? That ain't going to do anything. Move from one account to the other account. Right? Not a big deal. And apparently this weekend, I think we're supposed to get the audit on our crypto holdings here for the United States. So we're going to get the crypto holdings before we get the Fort Knox audit. We need both. What do we even have, right? And so I think that the gratis vendor deal, where Ripple not only provides some services and some help to our treasury, and let me just explain this and make this clear for everybody so everybody understands this, because I know people get confused on this point. The private ledger that Ripple would create for the United States government is a messaging layer. It's internal transactions for the United States government that could be tracked on a private sidechain that Ripple has created that's interoperable with the XRP ledger. When they wanted to tap into the liquidity, that's when you come to the mainnet. That's when you come back to the public blockchain. When you're sending internal messages that you don't want to be out in the public, private sidechain. It's nothing about two separate prices of XRP. It's not, retail holders of XRP are not going to get screwed out. It's actually going to benefit us if Ripple creates a private ledger messaging, internal messaging for the government, and then the public mainnet is where all the liquidity's at. And so that's how that deal could work out potentially. And maybe it's already underway. I think that many of you guys, along with myself, are of the opinion that Ripple's already been partnered up with our treasury. They've already been working with them for a very long time. This is a deal that's probably under NDA. It's probably a matter of national security. And so they probably can't talk about it too much. But this is the same deal that Ripple's done with other central banks. Central banks say, hey, we can't have all of our transactions on the public ledger for everybody to see. And so this is where the private sidechain gets created, internal messages get sent, and then just like David Schwartz has explained, you have this walled garden, right? And when you want the walls to come down and you want to have interoperability, you want to tap into public liquidity, you want to use a public blockchain, you hit that big red button, The walls come down, and then you can start to work. And nobody trusts JP Morgan, Bank of America, or anybody. The banking system doesn't trust themselves. That's why there's $30 trillion in dormant capital on the sidelines, because I don't trust you, you don't trust me. I look over at this bank. We don't trust each other either. And so every bank has $1 trillion parked on the sidelines to prove that you can trust me. I have $1 trillion on the sidelines. It equates to over 30 trillion plus in the Nostro and the Vostro accounts that get completely eliminated through the use of on-demand liquidity, removing that need to pre-fund accounts. So internal messaging, internal transactions, and it's just like what that guy said. What's the name of that guy that he's actually out of Seattle? He's that guy that said that Bank of America was running all of their internal transactions with XRP and Ripple. What I believe that, what has actually happened is that Ripple's been trialing with B of A on a side chain or a private chain, something like that. And also always keeping that option open to tap into the public main chain liquidity. That's how these deals are going to work out. For folks that want the private, they can get the private side chain, but they'll always have that ability to tap into the public mainnet. And that's where the best liquidity is going to build out because of our DEX, because of the central limit order book. That's the CLOB. It's a term that not many people know of. Not many people even know that we have a DEX, a decentralized exchange built into the XRP ledger. But our DEX has some interesting features that are already built into it. One of them being the central limit order book, where the DEX finds you the best liquidity on its own. And then the AMM also builds out these liquidity pools for all of these assets that are issued on the XRP ledger as well too. Let me get back into the Q&A, and then I have a few more data points to get through, and then we'll just go back into Q&A for some more too. Blake, thank you for the 5 spot. Appreciate you. Any concerns Ripple will be used on broad scale by institutions, but XRP will end up not necessarily being needed to use their product? Well, it kind of relates back to what I was just breaking down, and that yes, it will be. Remember, RLUSD still uses XRP for every transaction. Obviously not the RLUSD over on Ethereum, but for all of the RLUSD on XRP Ledger, it's burning XRP. For all of these issued assets coming and being issued on the XRP Ledger, they all are burning XRP as well. So XRP is being locked up for wallets. It's being locked up for new assets. When you want to buy a Memecoin on the XRP Ledger, you have to park some XRP in a trust line. You have to set a trust line. Now, it's not much. It's 0.2 XRP. The limits and the reserves have been lowered. But when you get millions of meme coins, when you get a bunch of other tokenized assets, it starts to add up. And that's just XRP that's locked on the side. Then we move on over to the XRP that's being burned in meme coin trading. There's people that spent 19,000 XRP on an X-Spectre NFT today. Now, I had shared this out, and I said, hey, here's 19,000 XRP spent on a picture of an agent in the X-Spectre metaverse. Whether you think it's dumb, whether you think it's great, whether you think it's cool, whether you think it's the stupidest thing ever, it's 19,000 XRP that somebody spent on a picture. To make matters worse, I got messaged by the X-Spectre Twitter profile. I don't know who's behind that. I don't think it's Dirk, but somebody at X-Spectre messaged me and said, hey, you should probably share out this warning. There's actually a bunch of fake X-Spectre NFTs going around. And some people have spent big money on these fake NFTs, which it makes my point. And it's even more ridiculous, but it's all XRP that's being locked up and burnt up, whether it's on pixelated pictures of NFTs, whether it be on meme coins. You're seeing tokenized gold. You're seeing tokenized US dollars. You're seeing tokenized Brazilian real by BBVA, Ripple partner out of Brazil, largest FX provider in the country. What did they do? They issued their stablecoin on the public XRP ledger. So it's locking up XRP, it's burning XRP, and Why did they choose to issue it on the public mainnet? Because they want to tap into that liquidity. That's why people are going to issue on the XRP ledger. Now, what comes next is the smart contracts, and that's coming throughout this year into next year. Okay? Now, we got more to cover. We got more to cover here, so let me get back into it. I want to make sure everybody's still in the chat doing good. TikTok, how are we doing? I got decent answers on the Grok app. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people throw crap into AI though, so be careful. You put crap in, you're going to get some crap out. Just a couple more data points here, then we'll go back to Q&A. BlackRock officially registers as a crypto asset firm in the UK. They're moving in a major way. From this is a pet rock to cryptocurrencies transcend traditional currencies. Okay, now this, I can't wait to play for you guys. This is Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin going to $13 million. But I want you to listen to this clip because he explains how he can say that Bitcoin is going to go to $13 million because it's a commodity. Now, if it was a security, he wouldn't be able to say that. He can't, and for an example, he can't say that the stock of his company is going to go up tenfold or whatever, as an example. He can't say that his stock or a security is going to go up a crazy amount, but he can say that Bitcoin is going to go to $13 million because it's a commodity. And so I want you to listen to what he's about to say and replace Bitcoin with XRP. Now, whether or not you think XRP is going to go to $13 million, I'm not willing to say that much. But I want you to listen in here on Michael Saylor and the point here that he makes about the difference between a security and a commodity and how they get treated here. Listen in here closely.
I can tell you that I think the price of Bitcoin will go to 13 million over 20 years. I couldn't say that about a security, right? You have legal immunity to actually express your opinion about a commodity. That makes commodities politically superior, legally superior, ethically superior, financially superior to a non-commodity, to a security. And it's not just a little bit better, it's 100 times better, right? And so Bitcoin is a commodity. Bitcoin is actually the commodity. I studied commodities in my early professional years. Every other commodity can be created with technology, with capital, with know-how.
Okay, and that's where we cut you off, Michael. That's where we've heard enough, okay? But the point being, right, is a big difference between how you can speak about securities versus commodities. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because think of the advantage that Bitcoin has had with this marketing scheme where everybody can talk about Bitcoin going to $1 million, going to 13 million bucks, going to 50 million bucks is what I heard him say. I mean, the number just keeps on going higher and higher and higher. I mean, you could sit down with Michael Saylor and he would straight face tell you that Bitcoin's going to go be $1 billion eventually. Maybe after he dies, but eventually it's going to go to $1 billion. And he would tell you it's mathematically coded, right? The only reason that he can do that is because Bitcoin has been given the free pass green light by the SEC and others that it was a commodity. Now, you could do the same thing for Ethereum, but it wasn't as clear. So that's why you don't have as big of a marketing campaign, people coming out and saying Ethereum's going to go, and well, I have to be careful because some people have been saying that Ethereum was going to go to 10K, that Ethereum's going to go to 20K. I'm not seeing. Are you guys seeing those predictions anymore? Because that's been interesting for me to watch. All these guys that were talking about ETH to 10K, ETH to 20K, gone. They're missing. They're missing in action. But the point being, right, Bitcoin has always been viewed as a commodity, right? Well, everything else was in the shadows or under the cloud. And XRP, not only was it under a cloud, it was under a storm. That's over. That's done with. And so now you're about to see this flip. And people are going to be able. I know some people don't like the fact that people can talk about XRP going to 10K. But people are going to be able to freely talk about that. Because as he explains, you can freely express your opinion. Right? You're free to do so with a commodity. And so people are going to continue to be talking about these high numbers for XRP. And they're going to be able to do that all day long. And the funny thing is that I believe you actually have more of a fundamental case to make for XRP going to some of these prices versus Bitcoin going to some of these other prices, right? So I just wanted to share that. Now, I also want to share, this is the final point before we go into Q&A. It's interesting to watch this unfold. You know, the Bitcoin guys looking at each other, wondering which one of you is a government operative. We got Simon Dixon here responding to this guy, Books Do Kwon Do's his Twitter handle right here, okay? Michael Saylor is a made-up name. His Wikipedia and his entire bio, like it's made up, looks like it's made up. Just go down the rabbit hole. Can't even find any info about his parents or much information on his personal life. I've tried ChatGPT, Grok, Deep Search on Google, and nothing. Looks like a CIA psyop in my opinion. How can we not find out much information about one of the richest people in the United States of America? Simon expands. This was my conclusion as well. I can't prove it yet, but his rise follows the same familiar pattern we've seen time and time again with the classic entrepreneur agent story. So, I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Is Michael Saylor a psyop? Is Michael Saylor an agent? Now, going further, is Bitcoin a psyop? Is Bitcoin the beta test? I think that many of us would say yes. But wouldn't that make the reasoning and the justification, really make sense for why Michael Saylor is a sovereign citizen, free to speak freely about how he feels about Bitcoin? And so he can freely say and legally not get in trouble saying that Bitcoin's going to go to $50 million. But why is he doing it? Just because he want to pump his own bags? Or does he have handlers over his shoulder? This thumbs up thing is cracking me up. Does he have his handlers over the top that are telling him, hey, that's the agenda. Get all the doofus morons moving on in. And I know people want me to be nice, and I am nice to Bitcoin, okay? I have nothing against Bitcoin. Send it to $1 billion. Send it to $50 million. XRP will be at $10,000 per coin if Bitcoin's at 50 million. I'm willing to talk about 10K XRP in that context. Okay, if Bitcoin's at 13 million, XRP is going to be at 1,000. Okay, but I leave that question for you guys. This psyop seems to be unraveling, in my opinion, and it's part of a broader unraveling in the cryptocurrency space. And it's why so much liquidity is flocking into XRP and utility cryptos that are based out of America, and a lot more liquidity is on the way. The ETFs are going to send these suckers up 5 to 10-fold, just like they did for gold and silver. You guys have been hearing me talk about this for the last year. I reminded everybody, when the gold ETFs went live in 2003, gold went up 5x between then and 2012. When the ETFs for silver went live by State Street in 2004, silver did a 10x. And so this is why I've been saying that crypto is going to do the same thing. It's going to be a 5 to 10x or maybe even more. And you saw there wasn't much interest in the Ethereum ETFs. It's going to be completely different with these XRP ETFs. Now, you're already seeing the front money running ahead of this in the ETFs, just like me and you. And some other folks that are smart. This is why the whale wallets on XRP have amassed over 1 billion XRP since November 4th in that election. They saw what was taking place, just like we said. We didn't need to wait for Donald Trump to tell us that XRP was going to be in the reserve. We knew it was already being treated as a reserve by many institutions, by some central banks potentially, but now we got the official confirmation, and some people need that. We knew that XRP wasn't a security and that we were going to win the court case. Now you're seeing that come to fruition. We knew that Ripple was in the clear and that they weren't going to be paying $1 billion fine. Now you're seeing $125 million, now reduced down to 50. And $75 million of working capital returned to Ripple. That's why we remain as bullish as ever on this asset and a few other utility cryptocurrencies that are based in America. Now, with that being said, I want to go into Q&A. If you guys haven't already, please make sure you like this video. Help us out by sharing it out. And all of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. Okay? Let me catch up on Super Chats, and then we'll go rapid fire Q&A. I know you guys got a lot of questions. We're going to get them all answered here tonight, okay? Dennis is talking about Seagate again. I know he's been telling me to look at that one. STX. Yep. I'm going to write it down again so I don't forget, Dennis. I know you've been telling me about this stock. I'm not very much interested in public companies right now, but I will take a look. I will take a look at that because I'm interested in learning about what they're doing as far as owning Ripple and if they're going to look at getting some exposure to XRP too as well. So I'll be looking at that. I'm also in conversation too with the CEO of another company that's based out of Canada. What is it? Oh yeah, he's the owner of the BC Bud company, which I'm not going to say what that's in because I don't want to get in trouble, but you guys know what that is. He created that company, but now he has commodity investments, or he has some investment firm now. And I was talking with him in the DM last week, and I'm hoping to get him on the show because they've actually put over 100,000 XRP on their balance sheet as a reserve. So that's been interesting to watch too. So you're starting to see more and more companies holding XRP as a reserve on their balance sheet. And it starts with these little companies, right, that might seem not too big of a deal. This is nothing serious over here. Oh, just 100,000 XRP. But this, I mean, if these guys are doing it, I can guarantee you that there's other banks and institutions that have been doing the same exact thing on a much, much bigger scale, 100 times bigger scale. Chosen One Collecting, thank you for the 2-spot. Genuine question, is there too many cryptos? Why so many? 100%. There's over 10 million. 99% of them are going to go away. And I think that there's just a lot of crap out there. A lot of crap. And I'm talking about cryptos that are pretending to do something. I'm not even talking about the memes that are just out there for a good time or for a joke or for a laugh. There's millions of those. But there's a lot of crap as far as projects that are pretending to be utility and solve a real problem. So, yeah, Chosen One Collecting, thank you for the super chat. Way too many cryptos. And that's going to be cleaned up. And that'll be cleaned up. Yeah. Mr. B, thank you. Big 10 spot. Thank you, Mr. B. Hey, Zach, how about a deep dive on Bank Social, bringing Web3 technology to credit unions? They have staking, are launching a credit card, and they are built on Hedera. Okay, I'll write that down. Bank Social, H-bar. Okay, the H-bar variants. We'll appreciate that. BSL. Okay, and that's Bank Social, H-bar. Okay. I did an H-bar deep dive for everybody who wants to see that. Just go to my 2025 coin review playlist, and it will be listed there. Okay. But I appreciate that, and I will take a look at that. Thank you. Eric, thank you for the 10 spot. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much. 5 spot from James. Thank you. A very experienced tech guy in the BB Mastermind said to throw away the Alexa. Amazon even stated that it will start recording everything. Oh, yeah. Yeah, James. Yeah. We were talking about that in our Discord group, too. No, I've never. And I assume everything. So I'm already out here. So I'm past the point of no return. Right? I'm past the point of being anonymous and being off the system. Right? I'm already in the system. Big time. I probably already am got a red flag next to me. I'm probably marked. I'm probably a marked citizen, if we're being honest, right? Where they say, okay, leave him be as long as he stays in line, you know. I used to joke about my TikTok handlers. This is when I would get in trouble on TikTok all the time. And then I'd come back and I'd say, okay, guys, my TikTok handlers said it's okay. They said I can't talk about XRP being bought back by the Fed, or, I can't talk about this or that. But no, with Alexa, no, I've never had that in my house. All these devices, our phones, our computers. And I've always said this though, if you want to go off the system, you got to go off the system completely. And I'll show you what you need. I'll show you what you need right here. This, all these people, they talk about privacy coins, they talk about other things. If you want to transact off the system, this is why I got it. This is called blackout barter. When the systems go down, or if I just want to transact. I mean, think of all the crazy things that have been made illegal. Buying raw milk. Well, you can't go buy raw milk, okay? I mean, it sounds crazy, right? Oh, your credit score. Well, now you're starting to see. These companies are watching what you're doing on social media. They're now looking through your social media, not just for your job. They started that a long time ago. But now they're looking through your social media to approve your credit. A lot of people don't like this. That's where the system's going, though. And I've always said this. If you're going to have to be in society, you're going to have to, do some of these deals. I'll never take the chip. I'll never do that. There's some places where I draw a line, okay? But, this is why I have multiple bank accounts. I got my crypto. I got my precious metals. I got freedom seeds. I grow a garden. I give myself options. And if there's something that I don't want to be tracked or recorded, I don't do any of these apps. Signal, no. Face-to-face, no phones in the room. But I'm not doing anything like that. Like, I don't know. I know that we want to have privacy, though, right? So that's why, you got to get rid of it. Your TV's listening to you. All this has come out. All of this stuff that was conspiracy theory a long time ago. We were called whack jobs for saying that our TV was listening to us. No, it absolutely is. And here's what's funny. For convenience, now you're seeing people want it. People will want that shit. People will want it. People will want it. People will want Alexa listening to them. It's convenient. Hey, Alexa, order me paper towels. Whatever you're going to get. Right? And what's the old saying from, I should remember this, from Benjamin Franklin? Those who are willing to sacrifice liberty for security deserve neither. Kind of along those same things, right? Those who are willing to sacrifice privacy for convenience, there you go. So yeah, Alexa, all that stuff, yeah. But, to me now, I mean, I don't have anything to hide. So it's like, I'm just over it. I'm already on TikTok. I'm already on these other platforms. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm past the point of no return. If we need to go off the record, we meet face to face. We convert metals, cash. Funny how my wife and I talk about something and it pops up on my phone. You want the algorithm to be tuned in. People don't realize you want it. There's a reason why TikTok's feeding you what it's feeding you. It's giving you what you want. There's a reason why YouTube is putting my face in front of you. Because this is what you want. Right? These things are dialed in. But yeah, that's to me why I appreciate the old school. I appreciate a good garage sale. Right? I appreciate, I appreciate paying in cash for some things. I like some of that stuff. Well, at the same time, I spend my whole life in the crypto world, and I spend my whole life on TikTok and online, putting my face up here. I also like the ability to transact off the record and communicate off the record, right? And I always told my Discord group too, I said, guys, we're coming. I'm creating the Patreon and the Discord group so that we have a safe space so I don't get in trouble on the public social medias. But I said, guys, we're in the Discord group. We're in our private group. But they're still watching us. They're 100% still watching us. And actually, I come to find out we got some agents in the group, retired and active, and they're good guys. Good guys. Okay. Yeah, I know I'm cooked. I know I'm cooked. Hey guys, by the way, how's this stream coming through? Is it pretty clear? Like, I know I've been moving my hands around a lot this stream, so has that been coming through pretty clear? I want to make sure we're good as far as the stream quality on that. Dennis, thank you for the 2 spot. If we read the missing XRP Ledger entries, we know about Bitcoin. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that the narrative there's cooked. Okay, so let's go back. I caught up on the super chat, so let's go rapid fire Q&A. I appreciate everybody for stopping by here. TikTok, I'm watching you guys as well. By the way, guys, we got the XRP family hats are on the website. More merch on the way. Quick plug from our sponsor. That's all. 5 seconds. Done. I'm all done. Okay. Crystal clear, perfect. I'm on wifey's laptop right now. Tomorrow I'm gonna set up my computer and the mics and everything. We'll get dialed back in here this week. Yeah. What do you think, Zach? With 1.5 million left of Bitcoin, 450 mined a day, 12 years, it's over. Yeah. There's just no utility, though. There's nothing to do with Bitcoin besides speculate on it. That's the problem with Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay, we're streaming in 720. Yeah. We'll be back on our regular program. Yeah, we'll be back. I didn't realize that I wasn't in. Yeah, I knew. I still have a little bit of an echo here. I'll get it all sorted out for you guys here, okay? Don't worry. Velo's more valuable than SHX. Atlantic Living, okay. I'll take a look. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Is XRP gonna rise? Yes. Yeah, we already did. Let's take a quick look at the chart. Back down to 210 right now, but still holding out really well. Yeah. I like what I see on this chart. Look forward to meeting you on the beach one day, Jim. Sounds good. Okay, Doppler started to provide returns. What have the returns been on Doppler, though? Because I saw some people said that they were supposed to be 3%, and they only ended up being like 1%. What's my thoughts on Liberation Day? So bullish for America. So bullish for America. And really better for everybody. Even these countries. I mean, nothing's better than... I lost my pen cap. Nothing's better than the deals that they had taking advantage of us. But the alternative is for us to go full reciprocal and put the hammer down. But Trump's not doing that. So Liberation Day is going to be good for everybody. We're going to get fair deals for both sides. And America's not going to be taken advantage of anymore. I'm also looking forward to them rolling out the External Revenue Service, this plan to reduce taxes. I mean, guys, I had to play the clip back. I was listening to Howard Lutnick on the All In podcast, and he said, I mean, the direct quote was like something along the lines of, our objective is to smack down the IRS. And I said, what did I just hear? I was driving, and I clicked it back 10 seconds. I had to listen to it again. I said, did he really just say that? Music to my ears. Our objective is to smack down or smash down. I think he said smack down. Our objective is to smack down the IRS. Said from your lips to God's ears. Amen. Yeah. XRP do $1,000 tomorrow. Hey, I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, I'm looking. You guys are dropping comments and questions quick, so let me dial in here. When's the next XRP party? XRP Vegas. XRP Vegas is going to be a good one. Zach, do you think that we are waiting for the case to be signed, to be finalized, then the ETFs get approved, then XRP starts getting utilized, and the price pumps to the moon? Yeah, that's going to be a catalyst that moves XRP back up. I think that a lot of people say that the case is already priced in. I think that it's priced in somewhat for sure, but I still think that you don't have it priced in all the way. because a lot of people just still don't believe that it's over. Like, they don't believe Brad Garlinghouse, they don't believe Stu, they don't believe me, they don't believe anybody. They don't believe that the case is going to end. And so I think that you need that headline to hit. You need the official document signed by Judge Torres. This case is over, and then it's off to the races. And especially for the institutions that injunction will be lifted, so there'll be no concern. You won't have to do a pre-allocation contract anymore if you don't want to. You could just go to Ripple directly and say, hey, can we get 300 million XRP? It's not a problem. Now, it is interesting. Somebody noted that we haven't seen any escrow movements yet. But this has happened in the past where for some reason it doesn't get triggered, or it does get triggered. I forget what the issue was with that. XRP at 210 right now, Bitcoin at 84.7. Yeah, Bitcoin popped up. Did it go all the way up? Yeah, it almost went up to 86 today. It was well over 85,000. And XRP popped up to about 218, it looks like on my chart. So that's nice for XRP. You know, that's a nice bounce right there up to, yeah, 219 and a half, basically 220. Basically XRP up to 220 today. That's great. Yeah, XRP strength on display. And I tried to warn folks, you know, everybody talking about XRP back below $1. I feel confident saying that XRP will never go below $1 again. I know, never say never. I'm saying never. I'm saying never. I don't care. I'm saying never. I know people are still beating me up because I said that XRP was never going to go back below $2. But that was like a cheerleading comment. That was not based off of technicals or fundamentals or anything. That was just based off of me wanting to cheer us on and say, hey, let's hold the line. Let's hold $2. We didn't. But it took the largest liquidation event in the history of crypto to take us down below $2. So yeah, that happened. I was wrong, but that's okay. Look at how well we recovered. Okay. Thank you, Willie. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. The stock market, I don't know if I would say it's suppressed, other than I would just say it's correcting. Right? What's suppressing the stock market? Is it suppressed? You know, is there real fundamentals that say that the stock market should go higher? Or is there fundamentals saying that the stock market's having a healthy correction back to fundamental value? I wouldn't say that the stock market's suppressed. I would disagree with that comment. I would say XRP suppressed. Yeah, there's a big fundamental reason why XRP is going to go a lot higher. Still $8 to $10. Oh yeah. We're still going $8 to $10 in my opinion. Yeah. Stu asked, is it top and shorts weather in Las Vegas May 30th? Asking for a tropical dude. Yes, sir. Yeah, Vegas already gets hot in May. Yeah, Vegas is a cooker. Vegas is a cooker. You're gonna need some shorts, Stu. Yep. You're gonna need some shorts and a cold adult beverage. How do I get Newsmax? I missed it before. I would wait for it to come back down. I mean, it should be available on most platforms. It's I think it was listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. So, I mean, it should be available on most platforms to get. But honestly, I would wait for it to cool off. I'm not going to give you financial advice and tell you not to buy or to buy. I would never do that. But typically you see a big dump after the IPOs. Look at Coinbase for a good example. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Dennis, thank you for the 5 spot. We don't want Torres to get rid of the injunction because no ODL is allowed to dilute the price. Keep injunction. Price rises in short term anyway. Well, so the thing about it is the injunction doesn't even really hold up to much anyways. It's kind of interesting because the injunction was general. The injunction just said don't violate Section 5. That's like telling me don't speed. It's stating the obvious. It's saying follow the law. That's all the injunction really did. Now, I think that it provided more uncertainty around Ripple sales of XRP, and that's where the real kind of damage comes from. It's like even though they were in the clear, and Ripple had already restructured how they sell XRP, it did, it still keeps a cloud over that because an institution who's buying XRP from Ripple doesn't know if that transaction could get caught up in some sort of issue if the injunction is in place. Even though Ripple would probably be sitting down at them with the table and say, hey, we've restructured this contract. What we got in trouble for back then in the lawsuit were contracts that were laid out differently. Now we have a different contract. There's no expectation from either party. We give you XRP, you give us dollars, clean cut deal, and it's done. That's not an investment contract. And most institutions would probably be on board with that, but to get the injunction lifted makes it very clear that, it's game on, guys. This is the point. It's just game on. Our president launched a meme coin. It's on. It is on like Donkey Kong, like never before. And so, do we want her not to lift the injunction? Well, that would, I guess, force them to come buy off the secondary markets. But I wouldn't agree that it would force them to buy it off the secondary markets because, like I just explained, Ripple already restructured their contracts. There is no more investment contract in those deals. So I believe that Ripple would be fine, either way. But it clears it up from a perspective standpoint, perception, that the injunction gets lifted. They will blow out all the escrow when ETFs come anyways. And that's right. That's right, Dennis. Yeah. Zeus, thank you for the 5 spot. Once there is a clear regulatory framework for crypto assets, rules, and regulations, what's your hypothesis on the right after effect? Probably will be a buy the rumor, sell the news event, like most of these events will be, right? Most of them always are. But after that, the floodgates open up. And the overall space does a 5 to 10x from basically where we peaked at last bull run. And that's over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. Right, that's What that means is the cryptocurrency space that was valued at $3 trillion back at the peak of the 2021 bull run, 5x's. So we're going to 15 trillion with ease, And the gold and the silver ETFs, gold did 5x, silver did 10x. I think the overall cryptocurrency space, like I said, does a 5x. But individual cryptocurrencies like XRP is 10x plus. And so XRP is going to 20 to 30 bucks after the ETFs go live. I believe very certain that XRP is going 20 to 30 bucks. If not by the end of this year, by next year, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Just reading you guys' comments and questions. Yep. Okay. Dennis, me, 45-year investment pro, XRP, biggest opportunity ever, 100%. There's a lot of people saying that. Oh, yeah. Somebody said not on board with Jake, but they meant in the context of price predictions. No, I don't agree. I mean, I love it. I literally love it. Every time I love it. I love when people talk about high prices of XRP. I love it. As long as it's not people like, the thing about like Jake, for example, when he talks about XRP going to these higher prices, he lays out his domino theory. And I've said the same thing. If these dominoes fall, yeah, XRP can do something stupid like we've never seen before. But all of these dominoes have to fall. Right? I like to focus on what most people can grasp though. A lot of new people coming into the space will be driven away. I feel like if you try to push them on XRP to 10K next year without explaining how it's going to go up to $10 first. And not to say that Jake doesn't do, Jake does that. And Jake does a great job laying out, his reasoning for why it would get there. I think that my approach has been to just remain very conservative because folks are out to take you out, especially me. And I got to say this. I don't know what it is. I kind of do because I know that I know how to kind of tweak and I kind of know how to poke. So I kind of know why I get attacked in particular. But I watch some other content creators and they talk about XRP to $1,000 and $10,000 and nobody gets upset. Nobody says clickbait. Nobody says you should be taken out. If I talk about XRP going to $10, I got people saying that I should be taken out. I'm like, what's going on? Go attack this guy. If I say XRP is going to $10, people are like, deplatform him, take him out. I'm like, why me? Yeah, I don't rule out any high prices for XRP though. Oh, Will's in the house? Is that Will? Oh no, that's somebody else. Okay, that's somebody else. I thought that I had. Yeah. Yeah, that always cracks me up though. Yeah, my audience is smarter, Ninja. That's right, brother. That's right. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Yeah. I love crypto, man. This stuff cracks me up. I say Flare's gonna go up 500%. It's not bullish enough. I'm fudding Flare. I say XRP's going to $10. I should be deplatformed. I'm way too bullish. I love it, man. Yeah. Don't get me started on these other guys capping. Don't get me started on these other guys capping, making up stories. Let's get focused here. Let's do some more Q&A. What are we working with, guys? Red folder. We can go get it out. Where is the red folder at? I gotta go find my red folder. Somewhere around. Oh, there it is. Red folder. We got it. Yep. Always ready. We're still adding to it. That's the crazy thing. Yep. Can you tell us about April 5th announcement? What about April 5th? What's happening on April 5th? I'm getting into crypto that's already double digits like Link and Zcash. Well, look at these cryptos from a market cap perspective. Oh, let me be careful. Because some of you guys are like, wait, he just said look at them from a market cap perspective. Because folks are focused on price. Like you might think, oh, Bitcoin's at 90,000. Or what is that right now? 85,000. So it's established. It's safe. Okay? Well, but how much upside does it have? Right? So it's all about risk to return. And I think that, yeah, sure, you can go into some of these other cryptos and feel safer because they're already at a higher price, but that's all relative. It's all relative. So XRP, it's at $2, which is an incredibly low price compared to the fundamental value down the road. You got other cryptos that are already at a very high price, and it's already maybe overvalued, right? And that would be assets like Ethereum. That would be assets like Bitcoin, right? So just because something's at a higher price doesn't mean it's safer necessarily. Who is Satoshi? The United States form of government intelligence. whether that be the United States or others. I don't rule out others as well. But it absolutely was not one individual man named Satoshi Nakamoto who lives in a cave or whatever the story is. It absolutely was not. Yeah. Hey, Zach, I wanted to understand why traders do content creation. Well, there's a lot of reasons. They want to, well, gosh, I don't want to get into it, guys. The traders are interesting cats. There's a few legit ones that I've come across. I'll give a shout out to BC Backer. I'll give a shout out to Waters Above. I just met that guy, Bunny Boy. He's providing TA on some of the meme coins on the XRP ledger, which is cool. But he also provides good TA on XRP and Bitcoin and others. So I've come across a few people in the space that do good technical analysis. Yeah. Am I going to watch WrestleMania? No. Yeah, I definitely think that David Schwartz knows who Satoshi. I think that David plays his role very well. He's a very nice guy. He plays his role very well. Shiba Inu. I would stay away from these older memes. I mean, when I saw yesterday that Elon Musk said the government wasn't going to use Doge, he's stating the obvious. Many of us did not expect the government to use Doge, the coin, right? But when I saw that, I just thought, holy smokes, man, this thing can't get beat up anymore, right? The only way that this could get more bearish if Elon said that he was shorting Dogecoin, which at this point I wouldn't be surprised. I hold Doge, and I'm kicking myself. I sold some Algorand to actually buy Doge. I forget when this was. This is like last year, at some point, and I forget exactly what the price levels were. But I got killed on Doge. I'm getting killed on Doge, and I deserve to. I tell you guys this from time to time about how I make a dumb move, I buy a coin, and I get wrecked. And I come here and I be honest with you guys and I say, I deserve to get wrecked. How stupid could I have been buying Dogecoin thinking that it was about to go? And I've been speaking very bearish on Dogecoin, on Shiba, on Pepe, on all of the OG memes I think have been played out. I think that they're all laggers, and I think that people want new memes. The meme space moves so quick. So the new hot meme might only last a few hours. It might last a few days. And that's why when I trade the memes, we get in, we take our money, and we run. And I haven't been trading the memes for a while now. I've been watching the space, but I haven't bought any new meme. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did buy some other memes about a month or so ago. It's been about a month or so since I bought any new memes. But I only buy memes on the XRP ledger. I don't buy Solana. I don't buy Ethereum. I don't buy any of that crap. I refuse to pay Ethereum gas fees. I'm not going to engage in the Solana. And so I only buy XRP memes when I do. Yes, White Rock. I'm going to be doing a deep dive on White Rock. They're tokenizing stocks, precious metals, synthetic precious metals, I should add. And I think that they got something else too. I forget what it was. But yeah, tokenized stocks, metals. Maybe they have bonds too. But yeah, I'm going to deep dive White Rock. Yeah. Hey, Zach, XRP to $3 this year. The Kendra Hill conspiracy theory, if you've heard of it, Kendra Hill just posted recently on X and Steam it, saying that XRPL has been abandoned, says HBAR. Yeah, Atlantic, Doge could return to, well, I've always said on Doge, I'm out way before $1. Like, I'm not waiting for it to go to $1. And I think that many people will get stuck holding that bag waiting for $1 Doge because they have a bunch of it And they've been doing the math. This is what everybody does on every meme coin. If it just goes to $1, I got $1 million. I'm going to be a Dogecoin millionaire. No, you're not, because it's not going to go to $1, because you and every other Dogecoin millionaire are ready to dump. And so that's why it won't break $1. So I still think that Doge might go, but I was wrong on the timing. Atlantic. That's really what I was wrong on. Dogecoin can still go. I just think that the upside potential is not really as strong as some of these other plays that we have. Yeah, that's where I'm at with Doge. But yeah, I know about Kendra Hill. I don't believe that the real Kendra Hill is still around on X. I've seen her. The real Kendra Hill would not be shilling tokens. No, I don't think that the real Kendra Hill is out. I believe that the old Kendra Hill stuff is good. The timeline was extended, but a lot of what was laid out back in that day, that's what got me into XRP so heavy. The timeline was wrong, but the information as far as pre-allocation, reserve currency, cross-border payments was the test, and the real market's derivatives, that's the stuff that I take from Kendra Hill. The fake Kendra Hill that you see now, get out of here. All the fake Riddlers, gone. I don't watch any of that crap anymore because none of them are real. There's a bunch of fakes out here, fake Riddlers, fake Kendra Hill, fake, and it's not real anymore. There's the one bearable guy 321 account, and then that's it. Basically, it's over for that. I mean, that's where these pictures come from. Is from the bearable guy, right? We got an update. I don't have my shirt here. I don't. All my hats and my shirts are over there. But you guys know the deal. We just got an update from the bearable guy in December of 2024. That's real. All this other stuff, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe that's a real Kendra Hill. But $30 this year, 100%. No, it's not 100% for me. It's 100% by, well, $20. I'll give you $20, 100% by next year. 100%. $20. Yeah. What else are we working with, guys? What's your prediction just for tomorrow for XRP after Trump speaks? What are we trading? What are you in a leverage trade? Or are you trying to scoop up more? A lot of people want to scoop up more. I think that the bottom's in. I really think that the bottom is in. You might get one more pullback. I said this earlier this week. I said, guys, just watch this week. You know, we might have already seen the bottom, but I'm not going to say that we're out of the clear yet. You want to scoop? Yeah, you want to scoop. I really don't like these questions as far as, hey, what's it do tomorrow? Because I want to scoop. Because this thing's moving. And you're going to FOMO in either way. Either it's going to come back down, you're going to FOMO in, or it's not, and you're going to be FOMOing in at this point. So I don't like being in a FOMO situation. FOMO situations are tough ones to be in. So it's tough. No, I don't believe in $1,000 this year. I don't. Yes, the scare event was the tariffs. Yes. Will tomorrow make the market make or break? The market already broke. We're going higher. You see, the tough part though is to say this, and then we wick down to 205, and then you guys get mad at me because we go down to 205, and Zach, you said it was going higher, and so I didn't set my order. I didn't wait to buy at 205 because you said it was going higher. And I could have bought XRP 5 cents cheaper. All right? The market already broke. It's time to move up. And if you guys believe in $1,000 this year and you're asking me whether or not you should be buying right now or waiting for a dip, why are you asking me that? If you think it's going to go to $1,000 this year, right? Let me check our chat here, check our charts. Where are we at? We're still at 210. I need to refresh this. I feel like, where are we at? We're still at 210. We're just stagnant. Okay, market's just dead right now. Not much volume. Everybody's scared. Everybody's scared. And see, this is the point that I've been making. Everybody that's asking me about buying, this is why I'm saying that this is why we weren't going back below $1. This is why we aren't going back down to $1.50. You guys still got money. And the institutions still got money. There's over 6 trillion capital parked on the sidelines. We don't need to wait around for Fed Chair Jerome Powell to make that money printer go burr. We don't need to wait for quantitative easing. We don't need to wait for stimmy checks. We don't need to wait for Trump to do anything. You have money waiting to buy. You're just debating on when to buy. And you're making my point that you already have money for XRP. You're just waiting to determine which is going to be, when's the right time to buy. You got money, the institutions got money. All before rates come down, all before quantitative easing, all before money printer goes burr, all before no tax on US cryptos, all before we remove the income tax, all before we reduce regulation, all before Paul Atkins, all before the SEC. I could go on and on and on. We have cash, we have fundamentals, technicals are showing you that that's the truth. Whether you have $50 to invest in XRP or whether we're talking about an institution that wants 50 million XRP. We're seeing the transactions happen all the time recently. 50 million XRP from BitHump to an unknown wallet. 40 million XRP from an unknown wallet to an unknown wallet. Right? You're seeing these transactions. 50 million ROUSD minted at the ROUSD Treasury yesterday. And I don't think that we're really appreciating what this means. It means that 50 million cash is being converted to ROUSD. 50 million cash wants exposure to ROUSD. That's significant. Like I said, this is a pace 10 times faster than Tether is growing. When Tether first got started, we are growing 10 times faster. Gold is coming down. That would make sense. I do think that gold is probably approaching a short-term top. Gold came down slightly though. I don't know what you're talking about though. I mean, it's barely come down. It was up at 3,160. It's at 3,156. Yeah. Stefan says, I'm getting paid in 12 hours and goes straight into my XRP after paying rent. And that's what I'm talking about. You guys. Yep. Yes, I'm still holding my Doge. I can't wait to get rid of it. Absolutely cannot wait to dump that crap. What do I say about Alchemy Exchange? Probably a no. It's probably a no from me. Okay. Yeah, no. I don't know what it does, but probably a no. Have I been hitting the gym? No, I've been doing my workouts at home. About to, I got to set up my office and then I got to set up my workout area. Going to get a couple other things going. Little at-home pumps. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you doubling down on XDC? I haven't been buying more XDC. No, I haven't been buying more XDC for a while. I need to do an updated XDC deep dive as well too. I really do. You know, all these companies need to get way better at marketing too. Because when I go to deep dive them, it takes too long to get caught up on these. I feel like Ripple is really setting the standard in that regard too. And obviously there's a huge amount of content creators for XRP as well. But just like directly from Ripple and from the XRP ledger, the websites that, you know, put all the data together, it's just when I look at some of these other projects, I'm like, man, why do I have to be a full-on private investigator to figure out what the hell you guys are doing? That shouldn't be the case. You wonder why your project's not moving. I have to be a PI to figure out who the hell you are and what you're doing. You know? Yeah, I understand. XDC, yeah, they're better. Yeah. I'm not talking about XDC specifically. I'm talking about other cryptos. There's a lot of other cryptos that they're just not. They're failing on the marketing. Ooh, we just got an order for merch from Todd Huso. Todd, appreciate your business. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate you supporting the channel by buying the XRP family merch. We got some more cool stuff on the way, so stay tuned for that. Appreciate your support. Dennis, you already are rich because you're here with us. You're here with the XRP family. So you already are rich. Okay? Why are people saying it's a king's crown on the chart with XRP, saying it's going to sink? There's what looks to be a head and shoulders forming on XRP, but what most of these TA guys are underestimating is that buy wall at $2. They're underestimating or missing the order book analysis, which we've been tracking since November, and we've been watching the order books closely since November when we actually started to move. There's no point in, you know, following the order books when XRP was just at 50 cents and not doing anything. But when the XRP started to move, that's when we started to watch the order books. And a lot of these TA guys, I noticed they're leaving that out. And so, yeah, it looks like a head and shoulders until you understand that the order book fills so well at $2. And so that's not a head and shoulders. When I'm looking at the XRP chart right now, and I'll show you guys here. It's just not a head and shoulders. It really is not. You have you did come down and you set a lower low, the largest liquidation event, right? But then you came back down and you tested the support. This is a bull flag, in my opinion. This is a bull flag that we're printing. And that's why on my chart, we're about to go to all-time high, right up here. That's what I'm looking at for XRP right there. No, and it's definitely not Crown King. I mean, these TA guys are pulling new terms and indicators out of their butt every single day. No, it's not a Crown King. It's not a Head and Shoulders. No. And, yeah. King Crown. Yeah, no. No. Not what I see. Not on my chart. If it's not on my chart, it's not on their chart. I think that, that's the thing. There's a lot of guys that got way too bearish. I'm telling you. Over the past month, what sold was fear. What sold was end of the world. That's what people were running with over the past month. Look at the content creators. I mean, you guys see it. I don't need to explain it further, right? What was selling was fear, end of the world. This tariff war is going to kill us, right? And then specifically on XRP analysis, which it's probably a disservice to call it a real analysis, what some of these guys put out in regards to XRP. It's like Cointelelie, the post that they put out earlier, saying that risk traders were worried about XRP crashing another 40%. No. You have risk trade. You have leverage traders that went short XRP and they're still short XRP. Some of them sold their spot bags of XRP to buy back in lower, and so they want XRP to go lower. And so that's why they're coming up. Oh, it's a king crown on the chart. Oh, it's a head and shoulders. I mean, I'm not a TA guy, but when I look at that chart, it looks like a bull flag to me. It does not look like a clean head and shoulders. It does not look like a king crown. I know what this castle looks like, but I'm telling you, a lot of these guys are talking their book. No. See, this is where I think some of you guys are off basis. I don't agree with some of the comments that you guys are leaving. Some folks are saying that XRP is not going to do anything till stablecoin legislation. Some people said XRP is not going to do anything till September. Some people say XRP is not going to do anything till market structure regulation. Some people say XRP is not going to do anything till the ETFs. How did XRP pump 589% in the past few months without any of that happening? That right there is proof that XRP can move. Now, maybe that's all we have in us. Maybe that's it, right? For, before regulations, before some of these things that you guys are mentioning. I don't believe that to be the case, though. And I think a lot of people are going to get caught off guard. There's a lot of people who are thinking, that bearish side, XRP is going back below $1. And then on the other side, there's some people that are saying nothing's going to happen with XRP till regulations at the end of the year. Nothing's going to happen till stablecoin legislation, which might not happen for a couple months still. Nothing's going to happen till ETFs go live. I don't believe that to be the case. I believe that the markets and the market makers are about to flip the switch back on as soon as this tariff trade war uncertainty passes. That's the only reason why markets are uncertain right now. Everybody's bullish on America. We know that Main Street economy is weak. We know that everything was a lie from the Biden administration as far as our economy. And so nobody's feeling good about that. Nobody's feeling good about inflation. But as far as, are we feeling good about American companies that are providing real goods and services? Are we feeling good about utility cryptos that are based in America? Yes. Which is why you guys are waiting with your cash to buy more of these assets. More XRP, some of these other cryptos too. It's because we are still very bullish right now. This is all about to pass. Sorry, bro, 7 years. I know you're frustrated in a way too. No, you'd be mistaken. There's nothing to be frustrated when your assets up 500% on average, when your investment's up 500% on average. With some of the positions that I've entered XRP on, they're up 10 bags because we accumulated XRP under 20 cents. There's nothing to be frustrated about with that, okay? So, and XRP is not the only way that we make a living out here. So there is no frustration. No. Can we talk about real world assets, including XRP, Ondo, HBAR, etc.? Yes. So the floodgate's about to open, and that'll be stablecoin legislation getting passed will bring US dollar and other stablecoins to these ledgers. That'll be an explosion of real world assets on. And then you also will see other assets, market structure bills really going to help push that along too. But you're already seeing the process has begun. It's kind of the narrative of this cycle is real world assets. I say disregard anybody that's saying that their chain's a real world asset chain. That should be a given. That should be a given. You don't need to tell me that you got a real world asset chain. That should be a given. If unless you're a meme coin, right? Then you're a layer 2 that's on another chain anyways. But it should go without saying that you're a real world asset chain. If you're not a real world asset chain at this point, I don't know what you're doing. So that's where we're at with RWAs. It's going to be an explosion of liquidity brought on chain, and just the fact of the assets being tokenized on the chain doesn't move the needle so much as the volume and the trading of these assets on chain. That's what we're looking for, right? So you want an example of moving the needle on a chain? Look at Solana. Solana, did it have real world assets that pumped the price? No, but it had a bunch of stupidity tokenized in the form of meme coins, and that moved the needle by billions of volume every single day. That's what led to Solana going up, despite the network being terrible. Not being terrible, but the network crashing and having issues and all this crap that was going on over there. The numbers still went higher purely off of the amount of activity and volume that was on that chain. People were buying Solana and they just kept on buying it because they wanted to go trade the memes. Now that's playing around. That's a little sandbox. And real world asset tokenization is going to be a whole nother level. Yeah. And the ability to move these assets between different chains as well too is where the real value comes in. And that's why it's important that Ripple's issuing ROUSD on Ethereum and also issuing it on the XRP ledger. You have that interoperability between the two. That's critical. What's a good exit strategy? I no longer am talking about exit strategies anymore on XRP. On all the cryptos that I've done my deep dives on, I explain the levels that I'm looking for them to go to. And I've explained my exit strategy on those, but I'm no longer going to be talking about my XRP exit strategy. We should have been millionaires by now. No, but that's the thing, Tremor, is that there are people that are. I know many people in the XRP community that have made millions off of XRP already. I've already gotten the messages from guys that have made $500,000 in a day off of XRP's price action. So it's a matter of perspective. It's all relative. So, we're all supposed to be millionaires right now. That's a relative statement. What does that mean? You wanted XRP to go to 589 so far, or right by now? Me too. But am I going to be, upset that we're only at $2? No, I'm thrilled that we're at $2 and holding $2 very well. And what I want to see is XRP go up to the $7 to $10 range so that we can get everybody out that needs to get out. There's people that need to sell. There's people like myself that want to sell a little portion of my bag. I'm included in that. We need to go up to $7 to $10 so that I can sell off my little bag. And I can't, see, this is the thing. I can't complain that XRP came back down below $3 because I actually sold I did a few test transactions selling XRP above $3. I sold XRP on Coinbase, I sold XRP on Uphold, and I sold XRP on Caleb and Brown. And I'm not going to say the amounts, but very small amounts of XRP on each platform. And the reason why I did that was to test these exchanges, their liquidity, these platforms, and how they would be able to facilitate these trades. And so, I can't complain that XRP went back down because I didn't hold my entire bag. And I know that there's many other people that sold off larger portions of their bag. I know people that have sold off 20, 50% of their entire bag when XRP went above $3. And I know a bunch of people that sold off a bunch of their bag here recently because they thought it was going back down to $1. Maybe they'll be right. I think they'll be wrong. How many little bags do I have? That's the thing, is I have the XRP that I sold off, I made through Memecoin trading, so I didn't touch any of my long-term bags at all. Yeah, and did I have any issues with liquidity? Well, yeah, on Uphold, I went to sell it, and XRP was at 306. They executed my order at 298. So that was a good example right there of getting hit with slippage. And then when I went to cash out, Uphold hit me with the 1.75% withdrawal fee. And so that's why I did the test transactions. I sold on all three of the platforms so that I could see who's gonna get a deal done for me. Now, in Uphold's defense, when XRP went above $3, that was the first time it had done so in years. And so there was very little liquidity up there. So how much of that was on Uphold trying to hit me on slippage versus how thin were the order books? The order books were very thin. So I can't even really blame Uphold so much, right? And this is why I talk about this with you guys and talk about testing this, is because I want you guys to see for yourself and understand how these order books work. The reason why my XRP wasn't sold off at 306 is because there was not a line of buyers waiting at 306. There was a buyer waiting at 298. And so that's why Uphold got me that one right there at 298, not at 306. There wasn't orders waiting at 306. And there wasn't a bunch of people hitting the buy button while it was at 306, because that was the first time in about 6-7 years the XRP had gone above $3. Then when I went to sell on Coinbase, XRP was at 317. It was at 317.5, and it closed 16 days above $3. I've mentioned this and noted how strong that was. XRP's never done that before, closing 16 days above $3. That's incredible. And while XRP had been up there, there was plenty of liquidity. There was plenty of people that were hitting buy while XRP was at 317, because people thought that XRP was going to go a lot higher. People were still hitting the buy. So XRP was at 317.5. Coinbase executed my order at 317.2. That's very good on slippage. I had no fee because I pay for Coinbase Premium. And that's $30 a month. So I do pay a cost for that, but that's $30 a month, and I can trade at basically no fees on Coinbase. And then there's no withdrawal fee on Coinbase. So I was able to take home a nice bag from that, right? But that's part of my trading bag. That was XRP that I'd made trading memes. And right now my plan is to only sell XRP that I've made trading memes for the most part, and maybe tap into just a little bit of my long-term or my other XRP holdings. But I'm still going to have a bunch of XRP after this is done. So that's where I sit right now. I just like to clarify that, because when people hear me say I'm selling XRP, I like to provide as much context as possible so people don't think that I'm selling off huge chunks of my bag. Like, I'm not doing that. I have no plans of doing that. No, and that's exactly the point, AJB. Is it's not the exchange caught holding the bag, because you're not selling to the exchange. The exchange is only conducting this with a buyer on the other side. And this is why I speak about this so much. You have to really think about, when XRP goes up to $7 to $10, how many people are going to be waiting in line to hit that buy button? The first time we go up into price discovery, it's not going to be many people. Zach, do you think that Trump is trying to initiate Nisara with Ripple being in the front? No, I don't believe that he's implementing Nisara as it was written, as it was originally proposed. But there's many things that Trump is doing that are in line or were part of Nisara. So I like to be clear on that. But yeah, no, I don't think that this is the Nisara. But, no tax, no income tax, gold and silver as legal tender, some of the other things that are being considered. Yeah, definitely part of it. I've talked about this with all the Nisara guys. Actually, I just saw that I got called out by one guy. That's fine. I've been very clear with them about how Nisara has a bad perception, and it's just been marketed poorly, and so that's why I'd say just abandon that idea and approach it differently, and also approach it. I think the way to actually get a lot of this done is to piecemeal it, is to take individual issues, gold and silver, legal tender, and you're seeing the states are doing that right now. That's a start. Remove the income tax. You just piece this up one thing at a time. We don't need to do the big Nisara. We move into the quantum. The alliance takes control, or they already are in control. The good aliens, the alliance. Just give me no tax, no income tax. You know what I'm saying? Just give me gold and silver legal tender. Right? Let's focus on the specific issues, because where you lose people is on when it's almost too big to grasp. And that's kind of similar to how I view XRP content as well too. If I talk about XRP to 10K, people tune out. They say, "Oh, that's not possible because market cap bro told me it's not possible." Right? Versus if I say, "Hey, XRP is getting prepared to handle some derivatives. This is how big the derivatives market is. If XRP just gets a little piece of that action, where does XRP go?" It's a lot more consumable and digestible for people that are new in this, for people who can't think outside the box. But in the similar fashion with Nisara, you got people that tune out because it's an all or nothing deal. It's like either you believe that the alliance is going to take control and gold's going to be revalued to 50,000, Bitcoin's going to go to 0, XRP is going to go to 100,000. It's all or nothing. Versus, hey man, can I just have gold and silver legal tender? Can I just let's get an audit of our gold. Let's get an audit of the Fed. Yeah. Zach, you were adamant about a $20 XRP by April, May. You did a deep dive video not too long ago. What has changed in your hypothesis? I think that I was adamant about $7 to $10. I don't think I've ever been adamant about $20 by April, May. I've been talking about the approach to $10. That's where I've been at with that. I still maybe you mixed up. I've been saying $20 to $30 this bull run. $20 to $30 this bull run. But that's the end of this year into next year. That's what I consider to be this bull run, is this year into the beginning of next year. And then this bull run, I think, comes to an end, and we enter an era of institutional liquidity and utility. And so we will separate from the 4-year cycles at that point, but that's when I see $20 to $30. But I've been adamant about $7 to $10 by April, May. Yeah, I've been adamant about that, and I still believe in that. $20 to $30 end of this year into next year. Yeah. We can't get past $3. Oh, we will. Oh, we will. We just closed 16 days above $3. We've never done that in XRP's history. Yes. Yep. Okay. Atlantic. Yeah. Atlantic says, my apologies. $7 to $10 April. You mentioned. Yeah. That's where I'm at, and I still believe that. Because here's the thing. It mostly comes back to the order book analysis. Like I said, we got a bunch of people waiting to sell between $5 and $10. We got to get rid of them. We got to let them sell. A lot of people like myself, I'm going to sell a little portion. Why? Real estate. I want to take money out of crypto. I went all in crypto for 7 years. Time to get some real estate. That's what I'm going to do. So I know how much I'm going to sell. I know why I'm going to sell it. I know what I'm going to go do with it. But there's other people that need to sell. There's other people that want to sell. I mean, I've already seen it in the XRP community. People show. I saw James Rule. He bought a Polaris like side by side. First purchase with XRP profits. And nothing against that. God bless him. I like James. I like James a lot. I remember seeing his content way back in the day too when I first got into XRP. So he was one of the OG XRP YouTubers, James Rule. And I saw that he bought like a side-by-side. And that's great. That's great. But that is exactly my point. People need to pay off debt. People want to go buy real estate. That's me. People want to go buy a new whip. People want a new... what should I say? I was going to say people want a new wife. People want a new deal. People want to sell their XRP for whatever their reason is, right? We need to let them do that. XRP is going to run up. We're going to clear out these people. And so to summarize this, Atlantic, I see a wave up to $10. Get these people out. And then we can, come back down, establish that floor price. And then that is when we can make our run. And that run will be driven by the ETFs, the regulations, and all that stuff that's happening towards the, second half of this year. Regulations, ETFs, market structure bill, all that. That's what takes us to $20-$30 and beyond, in my opinion. Krista, you have an XRP tattoo? I didn't know that. Did you already? Have you showed me that? I didn't know you had that. I will never get an XRP tattoo. But that's because I will never get a tattoo. Okay, so I'm a no tattoo kind of guy. That's just how I am. I know. I'm lame like that. I'm lame. No tattoos for me. But you guys should all get XRP tattoos. Every single one of you guys. I can't give you financial advice, but I can give you life advice. I can give you tattoo advice. Get the XRP tattoo. You definitely should get the XRP tattoo. Will XRP bounce, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it will. It already did. It already is right now, right? Up to 220 today. Coming back down to 210. We need to flip about that 217 to 220 level back into support. That's the next level. And that's just how I view, XRP, right? As far as like the short-term levels that we need to get up to, we need to flip 220 back into support. And these are all levels that we've been at for the past 3 months, right? So, it's like, yeah, we're just one level at a time, just like one day at a time, right? We need to flip 220 back into support. There's a range that we've been trading between 220 and 250. We broke out of it briefly. It was a lot of fun. And we actually went back up to $3 right here. What day was that? Let me check that. That was March 2nd, right? That was March 2nd. Went back up to $3. Then we came back down to $2. And now we've done it again. And so it's just like flip back 220 to 250 is where we consolidated. We flipped that. The next level is 270. The level after that's $3. The level after $3 is 340 to 350. After that, there's going to be a wall at $4. That's the official all-time high, big psychological number. You are going to see the next, and then basically we just zoom out from there. You got a massive psychological number at $5. I expect a big resistance as we approach $5. And then after we can build that structure back up from there, we approach that $7 to $8 XRP. I think that we're going to be struggling to get close to $10. So I'm $7 to $8 is where I feel comfortable predicting this thing to top out at over the next 30 to 60 days. Comes back down, and we'll look for it to establish a floor price at the previous all-time high, which is about $3 to $4. And I think that we'll chop sideways at about that level throughout the rest of this year till we get the regulations and the ETFs. And then that's what would carry us up to $10 and beyond. And that could be the run that pushes us to $20 to $30 by the end of this year, next year. And that would be our bull run. And then we come back down and build a new floor price. And then we have entered the institutional era of utility and liquidity at that point. And XRP and a few other digital assets will break free from the 4-year cycle. And this is when XRP could, go to much higher levels from there. But that's my XRP story in a nutshell, as far as, the levels that I see us going to and how this situation plays out over the next year. Okay. I see that we've been live for 2 hours and 22 minutes. I'm going to take that as my signal to sign off for tonight, guys. It's been fun. A lot of fun here tonight. Looking forward to getting logged back in here. This is going to be a big week. So we'll be back tomorrow with a lot of news to cover. Everything's at my website, zachrector.com. If you appreciate what we're doing, make sure you like these videos. Make sure you're sharing them out far and wide and telling a friend, family, loved one. It's time to get on in to the digital asset space with a focus on utility cryptos based out of America is what gets me the most excited, but to each their own. But definitely don't want to let this opportunity pass us by. The greatest transfer of wealth in world history is most definitely underway. So get tapped in with us. I appreciate your guys' support. You guys have been amazing tonight, and I will see you guys back again tomorrow for the full update on the Liberation Day. Okay? God bless all of you guys. We'll see you. Thank you and have a good one.